Hello everyone, I'm Tommy with Studio Sense. You recently hopefully enjoyed watching my summer scents video. I had a fragrance haul specifically for the summer months and the high heat. That was my designer fragrance haul. Those were all designer fragrances. Well, today I'm going to be featuring a single niche house. So we're going to be talking about kind of the summer scent niche edition. Only we're going to be specifically honing in on Art de Parfums. Recently I did a Le Joker review. Remember that cool little 50 ml bottle from Art de Parfums? So Ruda de Gutite is the primary perfumer for Art de Parfums. I want to thank you, Ruda, for sending me these samples. And with you guys, my viewers, I'm going to share with you my thoughts on these 3 fragrances for the summertime niche edition. So when we return, we'll go over those fragrances, that and more, so stay tuned. Welcome back, guys. Now today's video is going to be relatively short because I don't have the presentation specifically for these fragrances, these samples that I was sent, but I can show you what the bottles look like. They look like this with the exception of the stopper or lid is actually white, I do believe. If you check out the website at artdeparfums.com, you can kind of see it in a little bit better detail. And if you look at the example on the bottom left of your screen, you'll see the example of the bottle of each fragrance that I'm going to be talking about today. This is actually the Le Joker bottle, which if you go back to my review of that, my first impressions of this fragrance, you'll get to look at the bottle in a little bit better detail and get an idea of that presentation. But today we're just going to talk about the fragrance, talk about the notes, and I'm going to sample it, try it out on skin, and give you my thoughts on it. So the first fragrance we're going to be talking about is Art de Parfum's Seafoam. Seafoam. I really like the packaging for the fragrance and actually really like the presentation, the bottle themselves. It's 50 ml, so it's smaller, fits in your hand, easy to take with you, so you don't have to decant. Now, one of Art de Parfum's presuppositions is that some scents can take you back to the exact time and place that you were at a specific event or when you met a specific person, and can make you feel exactly like you felt all over again when that originally happened. They like to think that even though we can't travel physically, we can still celebrate the oncoming of summer using Art de Parfum's summer fragrances. So we're going to check out Seafoam. Seafoam has top notes of bergamot, laurel, and sea notes or marine notes. Heart notes of gaiac wood, sea wood absolute, and fig leaf. Base notes of driftwood, sea salt, and sandalwood. So going to be a very marine, creamy kind of fragrance. At least that's what I'm anticipating. Ruda said that this was inspired by jumping into the ocean and experiencing that first freshet of water that passes over you. So let's see how that fares in our test. Wow, nice little atomizer on the samples there. Oh wow. This is one reason I love niche fragrances. So niche fragrances primarily are concept fragrances. They're all concept. You could argue that all fragrances are concept fragrances, but primarily niche has an ideal that they really stand behind, and they push that even though not everyone may like the fragrance. Aquatic is in a lot of mass appealing men's fragrance. Ruda manages to get that aquatic note just right without being sweet. It's brilliant, really. I really like this. They managed to create a very aerated, aquatic ozonic feel. So it's almost like a combination of aquatic ozonic coming together. And then you get a little bit of that woody and creamy from the driftwood, the sandalwood, and then that seaweed extract gives you a sense of depth. As a little bit of that kind of herbaceous and citrus dries down, that bergamot, it's getting a little bit more sea salty and mineralic. It's almost like sun-kissed, salt-kissed skin. It's not a crowd-pleasing, mass-appealing fragrance. It's niche, right? This is the kind of the epitome of a niche concept fragrance. So it's definitely sitting close to the skin. So this is a very subtle fragrance. It doesn't seem to have a ton of projection. It's not projecting super well. But in terms of longevity, I would say that this would be good to average in longevity. But it's not a master blast of aquatics, really strong, bright, soapy, sudsy aquatics, marine notes, or fantasy marine notes that we're all kind of used to, like calypsone or aqualone or something like that. Very close to the skin kind of fragrance, but also very pleasant. My next Art de Parfum fragrance that I'm going to sample today is Encore une fois. Encore une fois. Hope you can see that there. Encore une fois is a limited edition run that was launched in 2018. This also was inspired by organic smells of the ocean. And since ambergris, or gray amber as it's known, actually comes from the ocean as we know it, and it's extremely expensive, that's why the cost is driven up a little bit, because that ambergris tincture is actually used. Top notes include bergamot and orange flower leaves, heart notes of violet and incense, base notes of ambergris, patchouli, cedar, benzoin, Peru balsam, caramel, and white musk. So let's try this out. Encore une fois. Really nice atomizers out of these. Wow, wow, that is very rich, very green. So right off the bat, your first experience with Encore une fois is going to be an eye-opening one. So you catch all of these bright, crisp, herbaceous green notes right up front in the first burst there. It really kind of has a salty caramel aroma and feel to it, and you can almost feel it or taste it on the back of your tongue as you're smelling it. It's almost like gourmand light. Got the sourness of bergamot, the bitter spark of petitgrain. You got that velvety darkness in the smoky balsams, and the fir resins kind of give it a fuzzy feel, and that rich, earthy patchouli. Definitely peppery, woody, and balsamic. Now, I would say this one is going to project off the skin a lot better due to the deeper, darker, richer, more complex oils. Encore une fois is an extrait, meaning it's a straight perfume, so you get all the concentration of the oils in there. So you're gonna have average projection probably, but really good in terms of longevity. The next fragrance we're going to try out from Art de Parfums is called Signature Wild. It was also released in 2016. Signature Wild. It is also an extrait de parfum. In the top you've got cinnamon, you've got davana and cardamom, heart notes of orange blossom, you've got dried fruits, and you've got radiant woods, with base notes of amber, leather, and sandalwood. Judging from the notes alone, this is probably going to be my favorite. Maybe not, unless it strays greatly from the notes that are listed. But the primary focus of Signature Wild is the Davana. This is going to be kind of like a boozy, leathery, dark, ambery fragrance that's going to be really, really good for those cooler nights of summertime or summertime inside AC. We've got daytime covered with Seafoam and Encore une fois, limited run, and then we've got nighttime covered with Signature Wilds. Let's try it out. I'm going to put this on my forearm here. I don't have anything there. Wow, that was already primed for some reason. So this definitely is, if I had to pick a favorite out of Seafoam, Encore une fois, and Signature Wild, definitely Signature Wild. This one is going to be a lot more wearable in terms of other people's opinions. Now, with niche products, niche fragrances, you don't necessarily worry about other people's opinions because you're primarily purchasing it for your own experience. Like, why would you want to buy Bat, for example, by Zoologist or Zoologist? You want to smell like a dank, dark cave where bats are? No, you want that experience, so the appreciation of that experience. That's what niche fragrances, that's what I mean by concept fragrances. They're a concept that you experience, and it reinvigorates your appreciation because it's deep, dark, rich, it's boozy, it's leathery, it has that light apricot from the brandy. You've got that kind of a sultry cinnamon going on there. You've kind of a rich, darker, weathered, mature leather, which is my favorite kind of leather note. So if you're interested in picking up any of these fragrances, they do come in a 50 ml bottle size, just like the presentation that I showed you with Le Joker. And you can pick these up. You can also get a collection of these in these sample sizes as well on the Art de Parfum's website, which I will leave a link in the description in case you're interested in learning more about. They go into great detail, very poetic detail about each one of these fragrances and what the experience is like. But you can order them for yourself, try them out for yourself. Really nice, high quality alternative to your basic designer rotation. Thanks again so much for stopping by. As always, thank you so much for your support on my channel. I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and I'll see you next time.